talk. Let's just talk a little bit about desire or necessity and what's most healthy. All right. Um, so we've all got that one thing. There's um, there's this place that, let me see if I can pull up a picture. Let's see. I'm gonna show it to everyone on Facebook. But there's someone who I was out at. Let's see. I was in vacation at Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Amazing place. It's got tons and tons and tons of rich homes and mansions, whatever. And it's fun to just look around and just watch all the homes and just look at them. And we went into the Ferrari store, my wife and I, and that was pretty cool. And we saw this Ferrari that, like, all the Ferraris are like $200,000, $400,000, and that's a big deal. And then I saw in their repair shop that there was a Ferrari worth 1.2 million. All right, it's the Ferrari Monza SP1. If you want to look it up, so you'll be able to see what it is. You guys will be able to see what it is, but I'm going to show you guys. So that was the Ferrari Monza SP1, and we saw that in there, and I was like, snap, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to take a picture. And then I looked it up later, and I'm like, wife, that's $1.2 million. And they only made 500 or 250 of them. She's like, oh, wow. Anyways, but that made me start thinking about, like, how do you get to that point where you have a car like that? I think all of us have this desire for that one thing, right? There's that one thing that would make me so much happier than I am right now. And I think that's a big temptation for all of us, is to desire that one extra thing that would make us happier. And where does it tread into the necessity realm rather than the desire? I think that's what I want to talk about now. So we have to watch out for that dissatisfaction when we're thinking about those things. Like, for example, I'm all about, like, getting new watches, getting new shoes. I love having new things, right? Probably more than the average Joe, honestly. But there's a point where you have to say, okay, this is a desire, but it's not a necessity. And you have to watch out for dissatisfaction, because it comes up it creeps up on you. And then how do you know when it's treaded into that I need that thing, from that I kind of want that thing, to I need it. And there's a couple things that I think you really need to pay attention to make sure you aren't treading into this. I've had tons of experiences where I've caught myself with this desire, and it's been a necessity. And I think these are the things to watch out for, to see if you're treading into that area. The first thing is recovery time. So if you are really let down by something, for example, you have to see how long you're let down by that thing. If something doesn't go your way, you have to rehearse, okay, I can get back up. And if you are down for a long time and you are not getting back up, it could be a sign that your desire became a necessity and you felt like you needed that thing. And of course, there's things in life that are going to get you down, and you're going to have an excuse to be down. For example, TJ and I, my wife, we miscarried a baby almost 9 months ago, or a little over 9 months ago, and 2 days ago was the day that the baby was due, and we didn't have that baby. So that kind of got us down. And I think it's okay to take a little bit of time to work through things like that. But when it comes to desires that are just desires, and they're just, you don't need the thing, you should evaluate how long you've been bummed about that thing, because it could be you could have put it in the necessity category instead of the desire. So that's one thing, recovery time. A second thing that you have to watch out for is doing things wrong. So if you're bummed about this thing, right, because you didn't get it or you really want it, you have to watch out for if you're doing something wrong, if it's affecting you and how you're acting around other people, because that's a telltale sign that your desire is probably a necessity now in your head. I want to bring up a verse by Paul in Philippians. If you're a Bible person, I think this could really help you. If not, you can still probably learn something. So Paul, the apostle, called by Jesus to make disciples of all the nations, right? He said this in Philippians to the church of Philippi. He said, "I've learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I've learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want." Right? That's the thing. Living in plenty or in want. Desire, necessity. Desire fulfilled or not fulfilled. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. And Paul wrote this while he was in a Roman prison. This is Rome. This is not something tiny. This is Rome. And I'm sure he cried a lot while he was in that cell. And he was probably really confused about the reason he was there, but I'm willing to bet that he did his best to redirect every temptation he felt inside to do things, to be wrong, to get unjustly angered at what's going on around him in the prison cells about how he was being treated. I'm sure he loved everyone the same, or tried to at least. So I think the other telltale sign is to not do anything wrong. Don't do anything wrong in your desire and necessity. You have to make sure that desire stays where it needs to be. The desire stays on your heart, right? But it needs to stay on your heart and not get you down as a need, as something that's going to slow you down. Because ultimately, if you're desiring something, it's going to be fine. But if you make this desire a necessity, it's going to slow you down in the long run because you don't have your priorities straight. So, I just saw that Ferrari at one point, and I was like, how do you get to that point? Like, isn't that the one thing that we all say we wish we had and life would be so good? But there's always going to be that one thing. And you can't let that take priority over where you're going in life and what you're doing. So, make sure your desires are your desires, necessities are necessities, and leave it at that. And work hard to achieve those desires, but let it be when it's not fulfilled, and when it is fulfilled, realize you just had a desire fulfilled, not a necessity. And I think life will go well for you. So, thanks for tuning in. Happy almost Halloween to you Facebook people. To you, I don't know when you're watching this, but take care. Have a good one.